Now, what do you think would happen if I mixed in this powdered Resincrete to my acrylic paint mixtures for fluid art? Let's find out. I have all my supplies here. I have my acrylic paint mixtures, which is half paint, half floetrol. It's a pretty neutral palette with one metallic in there, and my base layer. But I'm going to try something new. I'm going to be mixing in this Resincrete, which is a type of resin that has almost a clay-like finish. It is measured by weight, and then you mix it with water. You can see I'm weighing it here, but in a second you will see I abandon that completely and decide to make my own ratio. This resin has a very short work time, I think only about 8 minutes. That is not enough time for me to mix it into all these acrylic paint mixtures and then into a pour cup and then pour it all out and spread it. So I thought if I make it a little more liquid, maybe I will have a little more time to work with it. But again, I'm just testing all this out. I have no idea if it's going to work. The Resincrete kit also came with these little pigments. I think it's just coloring for resin. And they have the blue and yellow I need for my turquoise. So I'm going to try to add some in and see if it makes the color even more vibrant. It also came with black, so I will add some to my black mixture as well. And if you happen to be wondering why half my table is soaking wet, well, right before this video, I poured an entire cup of water and I couldn't be bothered to clean it up. So here we are. And I'm going to make sure these acrylic paint mixtures are ready to go before I even mix the resin, because it has that really short window to work with before it cures. That should just about do it. These mixtures I have mixed the way I would for any other pour. I've also incorporated resin in my acrylic paint mixtures before, and it's worked great as long as I get the right ratio. But again, this is my first time trying with Resincrete, so we're gonna just have to see how it goes. I started to mix it here and realized this is completely liquid. It is not a resin-like texture at all. So clearly my little adding more water trick to give me more time wasn't a great idea. I'm going to go ahead and try to add in a bit more powder here and try to thicken this up a little bit. So this will have to do either way because this mixture is going to start to cure. And it's still very liquid. So my acrylic paint mixtures are going to be a lot more thin than I usually work with. And that could be a problem. But we will find out. I added this resin to all 5 mixtures, equal amounts in all, and then I layered the cup. I did that off camera because I just didn't have time to set up the camera. It's going to start to cure. So let's get right into the base layer. As soon as I poured it on the canvas, I saw a lot of little chunks. Clearly, I did not mix quite well enough. So I'm just going to use my gloved hand here and try to remove as many as I can. Spread it out a bit. I can see even more chunks. You know what? I'm just going to spread the whole thing with my gloved hand. Should break up some of the chunks and remove some. And if I'm left with a few, I'm actually okay with that. I'm looking for this to be a more natural stone-like finish. So if there's a few little pebbles here and there, I actually think it will work really well with this style. But again, we will see how this turns out. So this will have to do. We have to get to pouring before those other mixtures start curing before I even get them on the canvas. Let's get to the pour. I'm going to start with a nice ring pour right at the corner here. As I'm pouring it, the consistency is a lot more thin than I am used to. Yet the colors aren't all melding together like I would expect with a consistency that's too thin. That's surprising, but we still need to see how it spreads. I also notice a little speckle of cells in the corner there. I didn't put any silicone oil in this, so it's a happy little surprise. Now I'm just going to pour some lines here. It's pouring really well. These lines are nice and straight, easy to pour. You can see clear definition of all the colors. And an added little bonus, this resin crate doesn't smell at all. I find resin can have a very lingering smell to it, and this has nothing, so that's great. Now let's see how it spreads. Wow, that is pouring fast. I am not used to that. And yet the colors are all staying defined, so I'm pretty shocked by this. You can see all the lines are staying nice and straight, and it's just gliding over all those corners. Now the entire canvas is covered, but I did notice a lot of little chunks right where that ring was. So unfortunately, most of the ring is going to have to be poured off the side to get rid of all those little chunks. I think I got most of them. Oh, there's a couple more sneaky ones. We'll get rid of those. Next, I noticed there is too much paint on the canvas. This will dry and crack. I used my usual acrylic paint to canvas size ratio, but I think because it's so thin, I should have used less paint. I'm going to get rid of some of this excess paint by pouring it off my least favorite corner. That should even it out and give it a chance to dry. Now I'm just taking a closer look, and I'm clearly so focused I forgot to put the painting on camera. So let's just take a look at it freshly poured. The painting is still wet here, so it's not going to dry glossy like this, but that's not my intention. I'm looking for a more natural stone finish. I'm loving all the colors and lines. I love these surprise cells. It almost laces across the edge here. Overall, I love it, but let's see how it looks once it dried. And here we have it. I was so pleasantly surprised when I first saw this piece fully dry. The colors are even more vibrant. It has this really unique stone-like finish, and the lines in the cells look so defined. There was a little issue in the middle here. It broke apart a bit. There's a few little pebbles, and then there was a big chunk under the blue right there. I either left too much paint, it was too thick in the middle and dried like that, or I didn't pour enough of the ring off where I saw all those chunks. Either way, for a first attempt, I'm super happy with this. I'll definitely be using Resincrete again. So, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate the support, and I will see you next time. Bye.